everybody. Happy Body and Business Breakthrough Day 2. So today we are going to talk about the key to creating more time on your work calendar to reduce overwhelm. Very key, right? And burnout. Break the cycle of daily stress and get things done faster and easier. So I just want to do a little quick recap of yesterday. We talked about the nervous system, how there's 2 gears, how we can not be in both of them at the same time. We could be in fight, flight, or freeze, or we can be in rest, digest, and heal. And typically when we get stuck, we're usually stuck in the fight, flight, or freeze. So when we are in that stress response, we're contracted. We are not able to show up for ourselves, our family, and we're not even able to show up for our team or business. So it can be a very constricting place to live from, and it doesn't allow us to do parasympathetic activity, which is rest, digest, and heal. So if you're having physical symptoms, it's often because we're stuck in that the sympathetic, the fight, flight, or freeze, and we cannot get into the parasympathetic. You guys wrote down for homework what your biggest block in business moving forward to the next level of success for you. And you guys wrote down a lot of great answers. And some of them I just wanted to bring out. And so if there's an emotion that's blocking you, like you feel burnt out or you're afraid of being rejected, if you're afraid of being judged, that puts you in a sympathetic state, right? That's fear. That's fight, flight, or freeze. And when we get into that fight, flight, or freeze, we are not sustainable. Our brand is not sustainable. Our product is not, the product placement is not going to be in the right spot where it's going to get the most eyes and make the most people feel amazing, right? Because they're not actually buying your product or service. They're buying how you make them feel. And so you have to have a balanced nervous system in order to be the most successful in your business. So if you put in the homework something that was you're tired or you're feeling like overwhelmed, that's all about not being able to move flexibly in your nervous system. And when we can do that, a lot of amazing things happen on so many different levels. So go ahead and put in the chat if that's an aha for you, or if that is like, oh, you already knew that, because there's so many rich connections that can be made. And when we see ourselves, like, it's not that I'm not good enough. It's not that I just haven't written the right copy yet. It's that my nervous system needs care and attention. So I think that can take some of the pressure off and be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And when we can do that, a lot of things happen in our bodies too, right? The hormones change, our organs change, our ability to repair and restore ourselves changes. So pretty good news. Hi, Mary Jo. Hi, Connie. Hi, Anne. Hi, Lori. Thanks for saying hi, everybody. So when we are talking about breaking the daily cycle, what we want to do is we want to not get into that fight, flight, or freeze. Let me rephrase that. We are absolutely going to get into that fight, flight, or freeze. But what we need to do is come out of it. What we need to do is teach your bodies to move flexibly, to be able to go into it and not get stuck and come out of it. Okay. So that's the main thing that I want to talk about today, and how that affects our time and how that affects our ability to perform in business and heal our bodies. So we also learned that the primitive brain is always asking, am I safe or am I not safe? And sometimes when we don't have enough information, remember, we get information from our eyes, our vestibular system, and our proprioceptive system. If we don't have the right information, our brain might interpret a situation as threatening. So we need to give our brains the right inputs so that we can change the output. If we don't want our output to be feeling judged or feeling stressed or feeling exhausted, we need to give our brain different information. So When we are in a group, we also talked about this when we're in a group and we're all doing the same thing and we're working towards each other, our nervous systems are mirroring one another. So you want to be the leader in your business, in your family, in your friends. You want to be the nervous system that when it walks in the room, you are changing the atmosphere. There's a colleague of mine, her name's Laura Larios, and she has this great quote. She says, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's her nervous system. And I think that's so fun because that Maybelline ad, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. It's not, right? It's something that they've done. It's makeup that they've put on. It's a investment that they've made in themselves to train their nervous system to be more successful, to be healthier, to be the person that is the atmosphere changer. And I just love that. Maybe it's your nervous system. And brain training is all about training your nervous system to be more flexible and to move into those different spaces. We did an imagination exercise yesterday, right? And it's not just an affirmation that we're saying. We were creating a missing experience for ourselves. And we were wiring that in through layering on different sensory organs, sensory experiences. So we were getting information from our sensory organs, even in our imagination. And that makes it really real for our nervous system. And that helps change the physiology. That helps change our nervous, like our neurotransmitters around it. And it's helping to rewire that experience. So it's something that you can go back to. And I loved seeing how everybody changed, like their numbers changed. One thing I wanted to mention, that if you did it and if you put it in the chat or didn't put it in the chat, sometimes when people start to wire in safety, they can have the opposite result. They can feel worse, not better, or they can feel like they don't change at all. And what's happening there is you're not an alien. What happens is there's so many women actually that I'm working with right now. And I feel like it's just compounded in the last 3 years where everyone's so hypervigilant. Everyone is so stuck in fight, flight, or freeze that even the idea, even the imagination of safety, the imagination of relaxing is threatening. So it can actually cause the opposite effect. And if that's you, that's totally fine. That's just where we're starting from, and that's okay. So if that happened for you, I just wanted to talk about that and frame that, because it is pretty interesting when that happens and we get into this spot where like, man, I can't find a safe place in my body. I can't find a safe memory. I can't find even a neutral thought or experience. And that's going to make a huge impact for how you can use imagination for your brain rewiring. So that's just one little tool. And sometimes it works great for some people, and sometimes it's not the right tool for the job. So when you are, hi Elise. Okay. When we're using imagination, and if that was a tool that worked for you, what you're doing with that is remember we talked about Tarzan and Tantor, and he was putting his foot in the water and was like, are you sure this water's sanitary? It looks questionable to me. So when we're doing that in our imagination, we're saying like, yes, this safe place, it's real. We're creating this experience and it's okay. It's okay to enter in there. And when we do that, it changes our nervous system. And when we do that, it changes our experience of another person. It changes their experiences of us. And we're talking about time today, so I'm going to get back to that, but it's also going to free us up when we are coming from a place of a balanced nervous system. That changes the way that we can interact with our calendar too. So we want to finish our day with enthusiasm. We don't want to be like, oh my gosh, all I can do is drag myself to the couch. We want to be energized by our work, by our interactions. And we want to work with ideal clients, not like people that drain us, right? So when you have a balanced nervous system and you're having those sales conversations, or you are creating marketing or copy around that ideal person that you want to work with from a balanced place, it's different. It comes across differently, and the person who's reading it is going to read it differently. When we are in an imbalanced nervous system, when we get stuck in that fight, flight, or freeze, that stress response, that comes out in everything that we do. And it is hard to stay there. It's very expensive to our physiology to stay there. And what happens when we cannot move flexibly back and forth is that we get burnt out. You can put in the chat, have you guys ever experienced burnt out on any level? Like, it doesn't have to be in business, but 50% of entrepreneurs report that they are experiencing burnout, and women are a high majority of that. We burn out faster than men. We get stuck in sympathetic. We get stuck in fight, fight, or freeze. And I think some of that has to do with we're trying to launch something and we have 3 loads of laundry and we have, to get dinner on. So there's so many demands that society places on us and that we assume responsibility for. So it can be really challenging for the nervous system of the average bear. And when you think about burnout, what is the definition of burn? Right? It's too hot. You've been exposed, the level, the temperature of your nervous system is too hot for too long of a time, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. It might feel good for a minute, and then it's like, I'm not sure about this. I think we can get into this collapse, and the brain is saying, enough. I cannot do this anymore. I don't have the right information to be optimized, and I need to get out of here. It's smoky in here. There's burning happening. There's flames, and I don't want to do it. So I think when you get to that apathy stage and exhaustion stage, your brain is just like, no, I can't do it anymore. I am done. And what's really cool about you is that there's nobody like you, right? There's only you can reflect God's character, God's heart for people around you in the way that you can. Your blueprint is unique and irrepeatable. And when we are taken out by burnout, when we're taken out by stress, we can't show up and spread that light in the world. So I think that it's not just about business. This is a bigger picture. This is a bigger story, but we can't perform well in business. We can't perform well in our families, and we can't spread the light and love that only you can show to the world. There's a unique dignity that you call out in other people. There's a unique way that you are healing the world. And unless we have that nervous system flexibility, we can't reliably show up because we have too many symptoms, or we have too many, we're inhibited by that stress response. When we are burnt out and it's too smoky, we don't have enough information, of the right information to the brain. So what I wanted to do today was, I'm going to take you through a little proprioceptive drill. So remember, there's 3 ways we get information to our brain: visual system, vestibular system, and proprioceptive system. So we're going to do something with the hands. And we're just going to give the brain a little bit of a different experience and see how your brain likes it. I love the comments, you guys. Yep. We wear many different hats. Women can bring it. So sweet. There is a special female heart of God that women uniquely have access to showing to the world. And I think that when we try and push and become more masculine in our business or in our to-do list, even the way that we attack the laundry even, I'm totally guilty of this. I sometimes will be okay, I have 10 minutes. I'm going to see how much I can get done. And I'm it's not how fun would it be if I could get all these things done? It's it becomes very very sympathetic. And sometimes I will really try and bring that pushing to the business, pushing to my kids. It doesn't work. It is not the way I'm wired to operate. It's not the way that people are supposed to receive me. And it doesn't feel good for me and doesn't feel good for them. So I think it's a good reminder that we can have it turn on and that like doing versus being can be very, very difficult for us, for some of us in a lot of different ways. Okay. So when we have the to-do list, when we're entrepreneurs and our 9 to 5 has turned to like something around 24/7, we can easily get burnt out, right? When we don't have the tools to regulate our nervous system, to get refreshed, to be able to rest and renew ourselves. When we do a nervous system exercise and we get back into that balance, we're not running around in that contraction state. We're not running around in the pushing state. And when you don't push and when you aren't blocked when your creativity is not blocked by the sympathetic, by the fight, flight, or freeze, things flow easier. So I love to start my day, and sometimes multiple times a day. I'll do some nervous system drills to make sure that my nervous system is flexible and I can come back into that parasympathetic. And that makes me feel better. That makes me more energetic. That makes me able to rest as I'm doing it. And when your work calendar flows from that place, when you plan from that place, it's a different experience. And you can get way more done with way more clarity and less effort. That's when people say like, it's easy to build a 6-figure business, or it's so cinchy to do X, Y, and Z. In the 4-hour work week, like they're talking a lot. There's a lot of conversation around like, how can we do this easier? And to me, everything that everyone talks about is going back to nervous system flexibility. And when we can access that quickly, we can access that flow. And on my busiest days, if I don't take the time to balance my nervous system, which you can do very quickly, when I'm with clients, it's not like I'm giving them my best self, right? I'm giving them my stressed state, my contraction state, and we're not going to get very far if that's the case. That expansiveness, that invitation, that's where you want to take your clients, right? That's where you want to take your family. That's where you want to take yourself. Let's be honest. So the cool thing is that we can do it. It's in our hands. And it's going to be literally in our hands because I'm going to show you a drill in a minute. But when we do these drills, it doesn't take that much time. And I love that it's something that's resetting us. It's not a glass of wine and Netflix. We're not numbing out. We're not like further disassociating from our body. We're creating a pathway home. We're creating a pathway to this balanced state. So guess what? When you create that path, you can access it easier and easier. Most of us have a 6-lane highway to the stressed, pushing contraction state. And it's really easy to get on that highway and just zip down. Our parasympathetic state for most of us is like a deer trail that's you can barely see and like it's hard to find, but when you get on it, it's really beautiful. And every time you do something to balance your nervous system, you're like weeding the path. You're making it more paved. You're making it more easy to access, easier to see. And over time, when the brain is like, okay, I see that there's another option besides this highway. That means that you're going to be able to get there faster, stay there longer, and heal your symptoms and get stuff done in a different way. So when we are doing this drill, there's different joints in the body, and they all have surfaces like this. And the joint surfaces they're called receptors. And when they're moved in a strategic way, though the movement stimulates the receptors send a new message to the brain about what's happening there. And the brain is like, oh, yes, I love more information. Thank you. I like to think about if I'm driving somewhere that I've never driven before and say like my map is stuck, it's not loading or whatever. I'm going to go from like driving and glancing at my phone for the directions to like, oh my gosh, wait, where am I? My posture is going to change. My muscle tension is going to change. My breathing is going to change. My level of anxiety certainly going to change. Like, wait, I don't even know the number of the house. I didn't remember that. And that's kind of how our brain can feel. And when we do strategic movements, they can upgrade the map. It's like refreshing the map on your phone for the brain so that it can get more information, make a different choice. So that's what we're going to do with the hands. And I wanted to add in the heart. I love talking about the heart because when we think of it as a measured energetic or electromagnetic field, it's 5,000 times stronger than the head. Put that in the chat. Like, I just want you to like reinforce that for yourself. Your heart is more powerful than your head. Like, so often we get stuck here, and the invitation is come down here, make that little journey down these few inches to your heart, because, and I don't know if you guys have heard of heart rate variability. There's a lot of wearable things that are measuring that now. And heart rate variability, there's a score that you can have. But when you have heart coherence, that is when your nervous systems are balanced. So not only do we have access to healing, we have access to being in a more peaceful state, we also have access to our heart, which is a way better place to operate out of. And it's way more powerful. So 5,000 times more powerful. So I'm going to end the little drill that we're going to do with like putting your hands on your heart, just to kind of anchor that in and connect you there, because it's a good place to be. And so much of our language really echoes that we believe that. Like, if you're trying to be so sincere with somebody, you're saying like, from the bottom of my heart, or I'm heartbroken. It really levels up the communication that we're doing when we use those heart-centered terms. Wholehearted, I just think it's so cool. So that's part of the nervous system too. And our organs, I've been talking a lot about the nervous system, but they integrate with the organs, right? They're a team. Hang on just a second. So when we access our balanced nervous system, we're accessing more time, we're accessing more ease, we're accessing our heart, and that's a much more powerful place to be. And when I do that consistently in my day, it's just not that hard. Work's just not that hard, and the to-do list doesn't get so overwhelming. And a lot of times I'll be like, oh yeah, I don't need to do that actually today. And when we're stimulating the brain with our hands, the hands are cool because they light up more places in the brain than any other thing in our body. And when we work with our hands, like, I don't know, sometimes my husband will say like, I can't do computer work anymore. I just have to go do something with my hands. And I think that's so interesting that he has that, the way that he talks about that, because it's like, literally, my brain needs more information. I need to be connected to my body in order to continue going through the day. And when my son was little, if he wanted to explore something, he would touch it, right? And he would always say like, Caden, hold it. Caden, hold it. And he would like ask you like, can I see it? But he didn't want to look at it. He wanted to hold it because it wires into our brain. Like, what is our experience when we're doing it with our hands? It's a little background about, even though what I'm going to teach you is very short, it can be very powerful. So when we're going to do this, you can just follow along with me. And I want you to do what we did yesterday, which is put in the chat like a number that you're feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, like where you're at internally, like how you're feeling. 1 is you're still in bed, you feel terrible. 10 is, you're skipping. It's snowing right now, actually, where I am. You could be skipping in the snow. That would be 10. So that's an internal measurement. And then I also want to do a little bit of range of motion testing, because when we do range of motion testing, that's just an external way that our nervous system is showing us the change that's happening on the inside. So I'm going to ask you to keep your elbow straight and lift your arm up. You can do both sides because we're going to do both hands. Ooh, this one's a little bit stiff on me today. And then you can also check your neck. Just kind of go from side to side. Also kind of stiff for me today. So this is good. This will be good for me, good for you. So I'm going to have you show me your hands. And we're going to just start to do a wave with our fingers. So we're going to curl them down and wave them back up. Curl them down, wave them back up. And then we're going to go the opposite direction. So there's a ton of joints in the fingers and in the hands. So we're moving them strategically to gap them and close them to stimulate those receptors to get more information to our brain. And then we're going to open up the wrists. There's a ton. These bones are called the carpal bones, and there's a bunch of bones in there. So I'm going to have you focus on your pinkies and scoop towards you. And you'll feel a nice stretch through your wrist as you come around. Sometimes you'll feel a little sigh coming on, or you'll yawn, and that's a sign that you're getting into more parasympathetic, the rest, digest, and heal. Then we're going to go the other way. So you're going to focus on your index fingers and you're going to push away from you so that you should feel a stretch in your wrist, but it's in a different spot. So we're opening up different joints here. And then we are going to do some figure eights. So I'm going to stand up actually so you can see my hands a little bit better. So we're going to do figure eights with our wrists. So I'm going to carve with my pinkies. And I'm just like tracing the number 8 on its side, the infinity sign. And if you want more simulation, you can add in your fingers. So as you come around, you can curl, unfurl, curl, unfurl. This takes some practice, so don't worry. And then we're going to go the other way. So I'm going to have you focus on your index finger, and we're going to do the figure eights, but going the opposite direction. And if you want, you can stay here. If you want to add on some more complexity, you can add in the fingers. Okay. That's it for the movement. And we're going to rub our hands together, creating some friction and some heat. And I want you to take a deep breath. And on the exhale, I'm going to have you exhale longer than the inhale. Okay. So we're going to inhale. And then on the exhale, you're going to put your hands on your heart and close your eyes and exhale. Just anchoring that balanced nervous system back to your heart. You can take a couple of deep breaths there. And then I want you to check in with that number. What's your number now? Where on a scale of 1 to 10 are you? And just hold that number in your mind and don't put it in the chat yet because I don't want you to do other movement. Because I want you to retest. So we did range of motion testing. So we're just going to see what changed. So a lot of times if your nervous system liked that exercise, your range of motion will be easier. It will be bigger. Like you'll get more range. My shoulder is way different. No, we didn't even work on my shoulder. We just worked on the brain, feeling safer, feeling more balanced, and getting into that parasympathetic, getting into that heart coherence where the nervous system is balanced. So put in the chat if your range of motion got worse, got better, stayed the same. And then also put into the chat if your number changed. You can say like, I was at a 5, now I'm at a 7, or I was at a 3, now I'm at a 2, whatever is your experience, just put it in the chat. And a lot of times the range of motion will increase, it'll improve, and the number will improve. Ooh, nice. Going from a 5 to an 8. Woohoo. 4 to a 6. Love it. Arm range of motion was significantly increased. Yeah. We'll take it. Range changed, Mary Jo, and I was at a 6 and went to an 8 or a 9. Right on. So how long did that take us? Not that long, right? Not that long. So In my experience with business, with my body, with how I want to impact the world, the answer is training the nervous system. And when we do that, a lot of other doors open up. So if we are training our nervous system and changing our capacity, like where do we start with that? And I've taught you guys a few things to change your nervous systems quickly. And those are really lovely, really lovely. And you can totally take those and run with them. And I bless you and I want the best for you. And there's more, right? The brain is pretty complex. And I want to tell you about the process that I take my clients through. These are mini transformations. These are quick wins. And we want to not just get stressed and then get unstressed. We want to change our baseline. So it takes a lot more for us to get into sympathetic, into fight, flight, or freeze. And it's really a lot quicker to come back to parasympathetic, to rest, digest, and heal. And when you optimize the environment for that, when you optimize the environment for your nervous system to be centered and balanced, so many symptoms just fall away because our bodies are amazing. Our creator is amazing. The creation's amazing. Go figure. And our bodies are designed for healing. So when you set it up so that you're in the right environment and your body can heal and repair itself, guess what? It does. So that's so cool. So I want to tell you about that. And the program that I have is called Inner Restoration. And I have so many certifications that I've gotten in this healing journey. And I've spent probably around $400,000. And I've condensed the things and picked and chosen the things that I think are the most helpful for people across the board. If you have MS, if you have Lyme disease, if you have anxiety, if you have chronic tension, it doesn't matter. All of those are outputs, and we need to change the inputs in order to change the outputs. So the program that I designed in Restoration, it follows a different little process, and it's called the HOPE process. And if you want to go from symptomatic and overwhelmed and burnt out and stressed to empowered and relief and success, this HOPE process that I take people through it's pretty amazing. I'm excited to share it with you. It's combining several different elements, and there's nothing that I've seen out there. There are nervous system training programs that mostly just work with mindset, and they're just asking you to be really diligent about the thoughts that you're having. And I like to use real-time interventions for augmenting different nerves and helping upscale certain things and downscale certain things, because our mind is really powerful. But I think when we partner with how we were made, we're not just a mind. We're not just a brain. We're mind, body, spirit. And when we can incorporate all those things together, a lot of change can happen much more quickly. So sustained vitality. I'm wondering, what association do you guys have with that? Is there an emoji that you have for sustained vitality, or does that make you think of something? There's it makes me think of so many different things, but that's what I want for you, is not just a little win. I want you to have the toolbox to take yourself to the next level. I want you to have the toolbox for that sustained vitality, not just for the 8-month program, but for the rest of your life. So you can put a comment or an emoji if you have one for sustained vitality. Okay. Thought work is great, but certainly not the key. I think it can be the key for some people, but I just don't find that it is the key. I think we have to be more multidimensional, because we are more multidimensional. Newsflash. Okay. So I think I told you guys that all all three of my kids are sick right now. And last night I was like, oh no, I'm starting to feel it. So just be patient with my hemming. Okay, so I'm going to show you this guy. Okay, so the hope process is what I love to take people through. And this is what I teach with my clients. And this is what I have distilled from all these different certifications and experience and my own healing, and having found things that worked and things that definitely didn't work. So the hope process is, I don't know why. Okay. Come on here, little cursor, you little arrow. Okay, there we go. So the H in the hope process stands for harmonizing the nervous system, which is what I've been talking about this whole time. This is where we can access so much potential for healing. And it's often one of the first places that we start because we need to get more flexibility in our bodies via the brain, via finding safety and rewiring our brain. So the next one is O, that is optimizing the organs. And this is huge for people who have health issues, especially if they're infectious or autoimmune, or if you are really stuck in fight, flight, or freeze. There's these little things called the adrenal glands. And often you are, let's see, is this, let me make this a little bit bigger. Is that, can you guys still see that? Is that too, if I go over here, is that better, or I don't know. You can let me know what your preference is. But when you can upgrade the capacity in your organs, and when you can detox and eliminate, you're setting up your body to get done what it needs to get done. We are exposed to 700,000 to 2 million, somewhere in that range, toxins every single day. And if we can't eliminate and if we can't detox, we're going to have symptoms. We're going to have buildup. We're going to have backup. And people who also are like have MTHFR or have other genetic components that make it just out of the gate harder for them to detox, these organ optimization exercises and releases are so crucial. I love being able to have these tools so I can use them anytime, anywhere. They're really easy, and you can just like have them on a desert island. You can have them on a trip. Sometimes, like, I don't know if you guys have had the experience where you go somewhere and you're like, oh shoot, I forgot that supplement, or I didn't bring my roller, or I didn't bring X, Y, and Z that I absolutely need for continuing my health journey or to feel great on this business trip. And you kind of just need your hands. And your awareness around what you need. So I love the O for optimizing the organs and having that cursor little thingy again. Okay. And then the P is paving new pathways. So we talked about that little deer trail. This is what it's all about. We're helping to rewire the brain through many different ways to create that pathway. So it's an option. We want choices. We don't want to be stuck in fight, flight, or freeze. We don't want to be stuck in these symptoms. We don't want to be stuck at this income level. We want more. We want more freedom. We want more relief. We want more, right? You can put down below what you want more of. Okay. And, oh, it's too small. Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. Let me come back up here. We'll go back to that. Okay. And then the E is elevating the identity. So this is integrating into mind, body, spirit. This is when you've had a certain path that you've picked as a young nervous system and you've developed in a place of trauma or compensation, you are hardwired for certain behaviors. You're hardwired for certain symptoms. And you are actually, I don't know if you guys have heard of ACEs, adverse childhood events. there's the score that you can do. And if you've had X, Y, and Z happen to you when you're a child, they're seeing a huge correlation with ACEs, with adverse childhood events, and your nervous system being dysregulated, and how that correlates to disease when you're older, how that correlates to symptoms when you're an adult. So changing your nervous system and being able to incorporate that into how does that actually look realistically in your life is a big deal. So this is hope. This is the hope process. This is what we're doing in the 8-month program in Inner Restoration. And this is the why. This is why we're doing it. And then the next part is the how. So how do we harmonize the nervous system? How do we optimize the organs? And when you have we talked about how the brain gets information. You get it through the visual, vestibular, proprioceptive ways. That's how you get information. Then there's also this other thing that we haven't talked about called interoception. And that is how like your body feels on the inside, like the nerves on the inside are telling your body stuff too. Like there's inflammation in here, or there's a kidney stone or something like that is also on the inside giving your brain information. So when we can work with that and we can give our brain different information, we can calm our nervous system. We can decrease pain quickly. We can improve our metabolism. We can improve our mobility. Some of you guys just experienced that, where your range of motion actually increased. And, oh gosh, was it Connie? No. Oh gosh, I just forgot. But somebody was saying in the visualization, they felt more flexibility, like literally more flexibility just doing that imagination exercise that we did on day 1. And it's crazy, when our nervous system is more balanced, we get more flexibility and we get more range of motion. We also get more clarity, which is why training your nervous system is so essential for taking back the keys to your calendar, the key to your schedule. And that is we do different targeted drills and exercises for your visual system, for your vestibular system, for your proprioceptive system, and your interoceptive system. So we're upgrading your nervous system on all these different levels to harmonize your nervous system. And I'll just tell a quick story here. When you have these tools, we just did a proprioceptive drill. So that was quick, right? And you can find drills that work for you. The ones that work for me might not work for you. You have a different nervous system than I do. So there's a lot of different ways that we go through and figure out, okay, you like this, this, and this. So these become your high payoff drills. These become like these powerful ways that you can reset yourself quickly before a sales call. You can reset yourself quickly if you're starting to get nervous. You can reset yourself if you're starting to feel symptoms. I have several clients who have these high payoff drills and they know that they work for them. And they sometimes are like, well, this one gal in particular I'm thinking of, she gets ocular migraines and she also has other things going on, but she cannot tolerate certain lights. And she was feeling better. She went to Costco. She started to get a migraine. She pulled her cart over. She did a visual exercise. It reset her. She had no pain. She continued shopping. She was able to care for her children. She was able to work later that day. She didn't have to cancel her clients for 3 days. And she had a full fridge. Love it. So these quick wins are so essential for moving through life, because we're not in a bubble. We do encounter stress, and this is a way that we can help bring our nervous systems back to balance. And I also have a client she's been in this state of panic. Like there's a bunch of things that happened to her when she was young, and there's a bunch of things that happened to her in the last couple of years that her nervous system just got more stuck in fight, flight, or freeze, to the point where she can't work right now. Or that's not true. She can work right now, but a month ago, she couldn't. And she wasn't making any money because she was just stressed all the time. And she was so uncomfortable. And we worked on, actually the next one, we worked on we worked on organ optimization first because her nervous system was so overloaded. It actually couldn't take more information. So we had to start with her adrenals and get her out of shock. But she was having panic attacks multiple times a day. And when she wasn't, she was in bed. Now, just after like a month of getting her nervous system balanced and her organs optimized, she's feeling so much better. She's not having panic. And then she like messaged me saying, I've had a whole week without a panic attack and I feel like myself again. And as the next day she was like, I've had 6 new clients contact me. So she wasn't even reaching out to them. It just happens. Like when we can change our electromagnetic charge and when we can have a balanced nervous system, it's magnetic. People want to be around you. People want to work with you. People want to buy your services and products. You know what I'm saying? So I love the way that this looks practically for people. And when we can do this, it changes the way that our body categorizes things. So I want to tell you guys a personal story. Last year in December in Colorado, there was a really bad fire and it burnt like 1,000 homes in the town that I live in. And we had to evacuate. Our home survived, which was incredible. But we had to evacuate and it was stressful. It was like, oh my gosh, is this really happening? Because we'd been watching watching it happen. And like, I was kind of like, we're not going to have to evacuate, please. Like my husband was packing stuff and I was like, no, we're fine. And we did. We had to evacuate. And so I took the hope process and I was doing drills. I was leading my kids in doing drills so that we could harmonize our nervous system so we weren't stuck in this fight, flight, or freeze, in this trauma state. And we wouldn't have to categorize that experience in the same way that other people were experiencing it. There's like a lot of people who are still stuck in fight, flight, or freeze in the town that I live in because of the trauma of that situation. And you guys can put in the chat, like if there was an experience that you had where like you went into shock, you went into like sometimes it's something that you hear, sometimes it's something that you see, sometimes it's something that you experience. Oh, Lisa, I think that's you. That was my husband and I was packing. Yeah. No, I was like, no, we're not going to have to go. Oh gosh. Jenna, thanks for sharing. Yeah. We all have like a whole bouquet of this in our lives, don't we? There's often so many different ways that we categorize trauma. And to be able to move out of it is really, really helpful. Okay. Going back here. And so for how we optimize the organs, there's different osteopathic positional releases that I teach you guys. There's these different really lovely, they're called neurofascial processing, NFP protocols for how to get out of shock, how to drain your organs of old grief, old anger, old spirochetes or mold or whatever you got in there. Chemicals, we got to get it out. And then in the In Restoration program, I do a monthly distance healing session too, to just help to heal and clear out your organs. These are quick. The osteopathic organ releases are quick. You only have to hold them for 1 minute, and it makes a huge difference on whether or not you can eliminate, whether or not you can digest, whether or not you can work through that toxicity that we're experiencing in our life, whether it's new or old. So when we optimize our organs, we have better function, we have better blood flow. This is something that's unique to this program too, where we're actually working on blood vessels. We're working on improving the blood flow to different places in your body because you need those you need the blood vessels to be carrying the blood, the oxygen and the nourishment to those tissues for them to heal. We're going to be improving the oxygenation by doing that and decreasing the amount of tension around our body, because a lot of times muscle tension isn't muscle tension. It's actually protecting a blood vessel or protecting a nerve that is needing more support. And when you release that, then your posture changes or you have no more neck pain after 20 years. So it's pretty impactful. So we want more drainage, we want more elimination, and we want better organ optimization. So for paving the new pathways, how we do that is we do some anatomic visualization, which we did a little bit today yesterday with the imagining. We become embodied in our meditation. We're layering on those different things. It's not just like a nice voice that we're listening to with some music. We're actually connecting our sensory organs to the experience. So we are creating a new reality for our body and a new path for the nervous system to go down. There's an emotion release that we do in the inner restoration program, and I'm teaching you guys different ways to release old emotions, old beliefs, old patterns. And it's so profound, because when you can access that like wounded, scared part of you and get them some resources, it's a game changer. Like your anxiety can evaporate, your symptoms can evaporate, and it's really powerful when you can change the game in that multidimensional way, where you're helping the organs upgrade, you're helping the nervous system balance, and you're getting rid of stuff that you don't need anymore. Patterns that you picked up in your nervous system as a little girl that worked really well to help you survive, and now it's sort of not working for you anymore. So when that kind of falls away and there's this new path, you feel way more connected to yourself, and you have more trust in yourself. And that's a hallmark of trauma, where you actually don't know, do I need this? Do I not need this? Like, you don't trust yourself and it's not clear. So we want to bring that back, because you deserve to trust yourself, and that's really helpful for your health. And it's also really helpful for business to make the right decisions moving forward. There are 12 healing foundations, the recorded content where I'm teaching you, what to do and how to work with it in your own body. And they're like about an hour and a half each one. And it's different tools of how to work with your organs, different tools of how to harmonize your nervous system, different tools for how to do an eye drill or a vestibular drill or a shoulder drill or a foot drill. And all of those things work together to upgrade the information to your brain. We're changing the input, so you're changing the output. You're changing the symptoms, you're changing the income, you're changing your well-being from day to day. And E, the elevate identity, we have, I do think that there's one-on-one attention that's needed, but I think the fastest way to change your nervous system is in a group. So we do have an inner circle group, and that is open for people to ask questions and celebrate and reflect back, like, man, this was hard today, or like, you can do it, you're doing a great job. And so what happens with that is you connect with other people who are doing the same thing as you, and you get to their goal faster, and you're not alone. You're not isolated. So that's that inner circle. That's connection with me. That's connection with other people. And you can be like, man, I feel like this today. And then I can be like, okay, try this, this, and this, so you're never stuck and you're never alone. This is a healing process. That's an intensive, like, you don't want to wait. We have live calls, but if you don't want to wait for the live call to ask your question, you just ask it in the group, and then I get you an answer. You're not left alone to figure it out on yourself, on your own. So we have the healing lab. That's live. That's like live, making sure we have questions. I'm teaching new things in there. You also have access to all the master classes I've ever done, which are like symptom specific, some of them. Like if I have a headache one, I have a pelvis one. So you can go through those two and kind of learn more about how to apply it. I also think that what is interesting about the identity piece is that there are new ways in which your confidence grows. And like, you can be in a situation with a friend and be like, oh, try this, or this. You can be with your kid who always gets car sick, and you can be like, oh, do this. And then they won't throw up. Like you have this level of availability to help out, to give back because of the foundation of knowledge that you're experiencing in your own body. For going back to the O, I'll just hang on here. Going back to the O, sometimes people are in shock and they can't get out of it. And I haven't found anything besides what I teach in the inner restoration program that gets people out of shock in the same way. Sometimes you can come out a little bit, but like from a cellular level, I haven't found anything better than this. You can't Google this. You can't look it up on your own. So there's like a way in which people neglect the cellular level of healing, and so that the symptoms just kind of bounce back and you're repeating the same thing. Organs are also related to a lot of pain. Like 80% of back pain is organ related. And I love one of my clients, she loves to dive, and she and her husband were on a dive trip. She has a long history of really severe low back issues, and her back would go out and she'd be incapacitated for weeks sometimes. And her back went out on the dive trip, but she took what we learned. She took what she had discovered about her own body through this process, and she was able to get back in the water the next day. It wasn't weeks. She wasn't taken out. She could heal herself. This can be huge for people who have problems with elimination. And then when you're paving new pathways, sometimes that can be a pattern that's also associated with a symptom like anxiety. And I had a client who was having, I talked about Liana, who she was having panic attacks, and this gal was also having panic attacks, but it was like she was incapacitated, and she couldn't breathe like multiple times an hour. And within a month, she wasn't just having less or fewer or anything like that. She was having none. And she was really in a caretaker role for her daughter who was very sick. And so helping her body be able to process everything that was going on was incredible for her family and for herself and for her own comfort. I have another client who, she was in a car accident, had some really severe issues with her neck and her elimination. And that was a car accident that happened over 20 years ago. And she went to the chiropractor 4 to 5 times a week, and she got colonics twice a week. And that's not the case anymore. And she was in constant pain and discomfort. And so we're still in the process of elevating her identity, because there's a fear, like, if I don't have access to that, or if I don't make an appointment, then I can't get an appointment. But she doesn't need to go to the chiropractor. She doesn't need to go to get a colonic anymore. We're still like weaning her off the pattern of it, but her pain is totally different. And she knows how to keep herself in a good spot, even if she's traveling, or even if there's a stress thing at work that comes up. So I think it's I love it. I feel like I have the best job in the world, because I get this front row seat to seeing incredible transformation. And sometimes it's for people who didn't think that they could change. Like, they wanted to change, but they weren't sure if they were ever going to get rid of this pain, ever going to get traction on the symptom. And what this looks like practically for you guys is I ask for 10 minutes a day for you to implement these nervous system drills, these organ releases. So it's not like a ton of time. And then there's some things that, the net time, the no extra time, there's 20 minutes a day that you can do, like while you're sleeping, or while you're listening to a podcast, or while you're doing other things. But the 10 minutes a day of focus time. So it's not like you're having to do like some brain training programs. You basically have to shut down your life to complete them, to immerse yourself in them. And this isn't like that, because we have people that depend on us. We have to stay in the game. So if you want breakthrough like that, if you want to be able to have the toolbox to heal yourself, I would love to work with you. This is for people who are willing to work on themselves, willing to work on themselves in a multidimensional manner. And we can book a call if you want to find out if this is the right time for you, if this is the right answer for you. There's also a place where if you already know that you want to do this, you can just sign up. We don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. If you're game, if you're all in, we can just do it. And the program's 8 months. It's $4,500 if you pay in full, and then it's $625 a month for payment plans. When you are doing this process, you are committing to a higher level of yourself for the rest of your life and your ability to contribute to your family for the rest of your life. It's an upgrade for sure. Tony Robbins has that quote where change happens when your should becomes a must. So if you must change your business, if you must change your health, like this is a great idea. If you have a brain and if you have organs, this is going to work for you. So there are things that happen. They don't happen overnight, right? That's why it's an 8-month program. Healing is a journey, and there's always bumps in the road, and there's always levels and layers that we're working through. But with the once a month distance healing session, we have the healing lab twice a month. You get a welcome box from me, which has like a lot of the healing goodies that I find really helpful and practical to get some tools into your own hands. That is worth a ton of money. And there's also some special bonuses I want to honor if you guys are ready to take the risk and take the leap, and your should become a must. If you sign up today, you're also going to get a one-on-one with me, which is $300, but it's also like for free. It's valued at $300. But the other thing is, like, I'm not really taking one-on-ones right now because my practice is full. So it's a really unique opportunity to fast track and jumpstart your relief and your results. And then if you're in the first 3 people that sign up, I'm also going to give you another gift, which is, it's like $200 value. And it's a harmony pendant I'm wearing. I usually wear them. They're for helping your body have its own electromagnetic field that's healing for you, instead of being bombarded by all these other frequencies that aren't really helpful in that realm. So I'm going to put in the chat the link for if you want to sign up for a call. And I see there's some questions, and I will put that in also. And then if you want to go to sign up, you can go here. And tomorrow we are going to be working on money. And money is a body issue. Money is in a body work issue. You can help the money issues through body work, is what I'm trying to say. And that has to do a lot with like the hope, the optimizing your organs. We need more capacity. Like, we literally need more space in our body to be able to hold more money. So sometimes people can get it and it goes away really quick, or like they get money and then a crisis happens and they have to use that money for something else. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about that and how to create more space for holding on to money. And we want to have transformation and rest. And I am so excited to work with you guys. There are, the live time, the times for the live activities. Thank you. Thanks for asking that. So I have them alternating. So I'm going to say a bunch of numbers. I'm going to say a bunch of times, and I don't expect you to remember them. I can write them down for you, but I'll just say them because I'm trying to optimize it for different schedules and different time zones, because we do have international people doing the program. So it's 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time is one of the times on Thursdays for the healing lab. And then it alternates to 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on an alternating Thursday. The emotion release calls are alternating on Mondays at 1 p.m. and Saturdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And the Voxer group, the inner circle, that's anytime. Like that's whenever you have a question. I try and get back to you guys as soon as I can within the day. And there are lots and lots of replays. And there are lots of, you can submit a question, or you can, if you can't make it and you have a question, it's fine. But it's really fun. The healing labs and the live calls are really fun because you're with this group of people that are experiencing some of the same things that you are, and you guys are all leveling up together. We're all changing our nervous systems together. I had it this morning. We had the 8 a.m. one this morning, and everyone was crying. Everyone was like having big breakthroughs, and I love it. I love my job. It's so fun. I love to see breakthroughs, and I want to see yours. So you're welcome to book a call with me. You're welcome to sign up. Can't wait. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. We're going to be working on body and money and creating more capacity. So happy Thursday. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for hanging in with me. I know we went long, and I appreciate your patience and your time. So happy Thursday, you guys.